parents or her older sister Terry for company. Their parents were on a 3-month tour of Europe and the Mediterranean. The trip of a lifetime, her mom had called it. We're finally going. Her parents had scrimped and saved for the extended tour for the last 35 years. As for Terry, she lived with her husband and daughter near Sun Valley, close to a 3-hour drive from Kings Meadow. Charity didn't expect to see much of her over the summer. "Well, I'm not in Kings Meadow for visiting anyway," she said to Coco, who was exploring the house as if she'd never been in it before. "I guess you haven't been here often, have you, girl?" A desperate need for solitude and silence had brought Charity to Kings Meadow. Her Victorian-era home on the Boise River, the one she'd bought several years earlier because of its charm and interesting floor plan, had been flooded this spring when the river overflowed its banks. The water damage had been serious enough, but the cleanup had also revealed significant structural issues that would require months of remodeling work. Maybe you shouldn't have bought the place without getting another inspection. Maybe you shouldn't make snap decisions all the time. Maybe if you'd follow Mom's advice every now and then. "I'm trying," she whispered, "but it isn't easy." Setting her jaw, she threw off her troubled thoughts and headed up the stairs. The second-floor bedroom she'd shared with her sister up until Terry got married, right out of high school, hadn't changed much. It still bore many of the traces of teenage girls, possessions Terry and Charity hadn't wanted to take with them when they moved out, things their mother had been unable to get rid of. She picked up a glass figurine from the nightstand and turned it over in the palm of her hand. She'd won the crystal horse at the fair the summer before her senior year. The whole family had been there that night. Mom and Dad, Terry and her husband Rick, and their new baby, and Charity. She remembered the lights from the carnival rides, the loud music, the smells of hamburgers, grilled onions, and chorizos along Food Row, and the laughter. Lots and lots of laughter. The pleasant memories made Charity smile as she unpacked her suitcases, placing some clothes in the old chest of drawers and hanging other items in the closet. There wasn't a lot of room in the latter. It had become a storage area for whatever size clothes her mother couldn't fit into at present. When Charity's suitcases were emptied at last, she stowed them under her old bed. As she straightened, she looked out the window and saw Buck Malone exit the house next door. Buck Malone. Her heart gave a crazy and unexpected flutter. She hadn't seen Buck in ages, not even from a distance. But her old high school classmate and secret heartthrob was just as drop-dead gorgeous as he'd ever been, perhaps more so. His shoulders were broader, and he looked taller, too. Was he taller, or was it a figment of her imagination? Stop it, she mentally berated herself. It didn't matter. Buck was no one to her now. Just someone from her distant past, one of many someones from her distant past. She watched him get into an old beater truck. The engine started, and in moments he'd pulled out of the driveway. Only after he was out of sight did she realize she'd begun to shake. Something dark and familiar lurked in her memory, and it took all of her resolve to block it out again. Weak in the knees, she sank onto the edge of the bed. "Breathe. Just breathe. It's all right. You're okay. You're safe." Bit by bit, she willed her trembling hands to still, her heart to calm. These terrible feelings, these black thoughts and feared memories were why she avoided coming home as much as possible. They were why she'd cut herself off from lifelong friends, why she'd erected barriers between herself and the people she loved. She hated the sense of being emotionally out of control. Better to stay away from Kings Meadow than to feel this way. Only she didn't have a choice right now, not really. Not with her house in complete disarray. Hammers hammering, saws sawing, drills drilling for 9 hours or more every day. Not with a book due all too soon at her publisher's.